And we are live.
Hi.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Functional.
Mostly.
Oh, that's good at least. We are back for our once a month Behold Lore episode 6, where I am your hostess, Zoro from E3, and I'm here with our lore masters. I just realized it's been a while because apparently I didn't click the thing over. Anyway.
I thought my stream was just really delayed for a second there.
No, that's just me getting back in the groove of doing this is all.
To be fair, it's been like a few weeks since we've all been together, really.
It has. It really has. So apologies on that for the viewers at least. Anyway, those who are tuning in, I am your hostess, Zoro from E3. I'm here with the Lore Masters, Rhojin Quest, and HB Fox. And for the 6th segment of our show, we are going to be talking about homebrew creatures, where we met our extra life milestone goal, where the community will be creating a creature that will appear in one of our campaigns, probably more than likely the Tuesday one at some point, but we'll find out. We'll find out. But we do have some winners as far as the poll goes. There are some tiebreaker stuff that we need to deal with, which we can do live. So no guest. The guest is actually going to be all of you guys watching live right now, where we get to sort of determine the fine details and whatnot of this community-built creature. So that will happen on the last half of this segment. So first things first, creating a creature. Now I know that some creatures have been made up or altered by campaigns and one-shots that both of you have ran, but let's talk about the process of what's behind the monster. So Rhojin, let's start with you on your monster building process.
Music mostly.
Inspiration from music?
Yeah. Zoro knows this, but like I listen to like a lot of Guilty Gear music. That's how like a lot of like my personal characters are born, but a lot of my monster creation process normally starts with something popping into my mind while I'm working. I've got whatever blaring on Spotify in my head, and I'm like, okay, that might work. And then it just slowly trickles on down from there until it makes its appearance in an episode, and Azarin starts having an aneurysm because of all the stuff that it's got attached to it.
Now, is it the lyrics that inspire you or the tone of the music?
It's both. Like for like your basic everyday, minion or whatever, it's mostly just the tone of the music. But then when we start getting into like the big bads and stuff, the lyrics tend to like help shape them as well.
Do you tend to steer more towards darker creatures or just chaotic creatures? I know you're all about the chaos, but as far as like where do you tend to go more when you listen to music as far as like the creature type?
Just all depends on how I feel at that moment. Like I've created creatures, with like a ton of speed metal playing in the background that are neither chaotic nor evil or anything like that. It's just for some reason they popped up into my head.
I've been there.
Funny enough, like when I created the Hakarl, it was like a bunch of Sabaton in the background.
Oh, interesting.
I could see it. That totally makes sense with them.
Yeah, so it was just like, okay, so thank you, Sabaton, for giving Rex life.
All right. Well, I mean, Q would probably know more behind closed doors on that, maybe. Who knows?
Hey, we've all seen the pictures. We all know how it works.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true. And what about you, Fox? What's your inspiration for coming up with creatures, whether they are brand new from your mind or altered to make them more interesting?
It usually depends on what I'm creating the creature for. If I have a campaign or adventure coming up that I'm really like carving out time to create, like Sonata, for instance, then it's usually at some point during the planning of that campaign when I'm in the mindset of that setting. ideas for these creatures will kind of come to me, but it's usually just one aspect of the creature that will come to me, and then I'll write that down somewhere. Then when I have the time, I'll take that aspect and kind of build the monster or creature around it. Other times when I'm not planning for anything in particular, I'll just be doing whatever I'm doing. I always have a notepad handy, and an idea will come to mind. I'll write it down, whether it's the way that a creature looks or an ability that I think would be really interesting for a creature to have. I'll then take that, and then at any point when I'm in a game, either as a DM or a player, and I feel like it could be interesting to introduce that aspect of that creature, then I'll take it and build the creature and insert it into the world.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the obvious one just because it's been killing me this whole time, so I just want to get it out of the way now. For both of you, what is your favorite creature that you've come up with so far?
You haven't met it yet.
What?
You have not met it yet. I have been working on a creature for about 5 months now.
Oh, jeez.
It's something special.
Is it something for Destiny Forge or a different game?
Just whenever it makes an appearance.
Okay.
I mean, more than likely, it will probably appear in season. It'll probably appear in campaign 3. With like a lot of what is built around it and its whole premise, it's definitely something that would be up in that world.
Oh, okay. It would make more sense for it then, you think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, now I want to push more on answers, but I'm not going to get any. So, Fox, what's your answer?
Well, I'm gonna disappoint you here, Zoro. You haven't met it yet.
Sonata?
It's something that I created for Sonata 2, but
Really?
Yeah, it was there. It was ready to go, but there was a very crucial save that somebody had to make that would determine whether or not it made an appearance, and they made the save, so it didn't make an appearance. But there's plenty more of that to come in Sonata 3. Aside from creatures that you don't know about, I think one of my favorites is Korax, the dragon, the world dragon that you guys fought at the end of Sonata 2.
Yes.
He was really fun to create, and it was really fun to imagine the two sides of him, because you saw the kind of infected side of him, and I created that as a monster, and then I also created the non-infected version of him and what his abilities and skills and stuff are in that form as well, which I'm not going to reveal because you may come across him again at some point.
Of course. And he's in dragon egg form right now, isn't he? Yeah. Okay. That's a good follow-up question from Az. Who made the save?
Who was it? I think it was Cam that made the save.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the melee people, because it's a creature that only makes an appearance after you get hit by a different creature and inflicted by something from them. So.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. It's going to be real fun in Sonata 3 because there's a lot more of them.
Oh, geez. Okay. I'm proud of what character I'm making now. Or not. I don't know. My last character was a healer. They didn't do a lot of healing, so we'll see how this one goes. But yeah, that'll be exciting. All right. So with those creatures, you mentioned before, Fox, that you have a certain aspect that you go with. Is it always the same aspect as far as is it personality or the type of creature, and then just kind of build around that? Or is it different every single time?
It's really different. Like a lot of the creatures that I created for Sonata was when I was in kind of that grim, dark mindset, and an idea of like an ability would come to mind that would allow a creature to like corrupt someone or something. And ooh, that sounds fun. Let me build a monster around that. But then on the flip side, when I was creating creatures for No Way Out, there was the little cacti dragons that I made for that campaign that you guys never got to have fun with, unfortunately. That I just saw some really, really gorgeous art of a tiny dragon that was colored like a cactus or a cacti. And I was like, well, now I have to create a creature around that. I'm running a campaign in the desert. How could I not create a creature around that? So it's just kind of whatever sparks that inspiration.
Oh, okay. And I know sometimes it's kind of 50-50 with Rhojin. We've talked about this before in the past. If I remember correctly, things like Gary's made up, but he was made up on the spot, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gary was made up on the spot because a certain someone read the book they weren't supposed to.
Now, did you know something like bad was going to happen? You just didn't know what just as of yet?
No, I thought, something like the book was going to be found, but, people were going to, err on the side of caution and not open it. And it was going to play a part a little bit later on in the story, with you actually running into a couple of like the cultists and them trying to get the book in order to summon Gary. But instead, you guys decided, you're going to read the book. So the very first beach episode turned into a bit of a Cthulhu-esque beach episode.
Yeah, we blame Zale for that.
No, we blame Rose for that because she didn't warn us adequately.
I think a little bit of column A, column B. We'll put it that way. Now, just because it's actually around the corner from when this episode airs, we have our Halloween one-shot coming up. And we did say, we haven't said it publicly yet, not a spoiler or anything, but it is a trilogy. This is the last we will see of Candy. This is the wrap-up of the Candy monster coming up, which for those who don't know, it's a character named Candy, not like a monster made out of candy.
Candy with an I.
Candy with an I, because her name is Candace, and she went by Candy because she was a cheerleader. And it just happened to work out. It was great. So when you created the new Candy, I know the first one shot, you were inspired by the Shia LaBeouf song, the Cannibal Shia LaBeouf song. So you had that inspiration, but then you twisted it and you made it and gnarled it and made it just super creepy when you came out with last year's Halloween episode and gave it more of, it was a little bit of like The Grudge meets a hag meets like all these different elements into one. Did you just wanted to take all the elements of what you think is scary to kind of form her like this, or what?
What I did with Candy in the second episode was I took a bit of inspiration from Until Dawn with the Wendigos.
Oh, okay.
And then I kind of mixed it with Cabin in the Woods, and then just gave it a little bit of a twist of like the like folklore tales about the enraged spirit looking for its lost love, and kind of just mix that all together. That's why where we saw at the end, she wasn't dead, and she sort of paid a visit to H.B. Fox's character, who was a descendant of her
boyfriend,
the boyfriend that she killed in the first episode.
Now, what was the timeline? I remember you mentioned it a long time ago, but what was the gap between the first and second one shot?
So the first was just entering into it was just entering into the timeline of when basically when the time frame when it hits with Withered Wastes. So
okay.
That first instance, and then when the second episode came along, it was kind of in present day as to where Destiny Forge was at the time. Now part 3 is going to take place probably about 60 years.
60 as in 60?
60.
Oh my.
60
that
years
bitch is still around? Oh no.
After the events of the second one, and now she's kind of left the continent, and she's made her way north, and she's now infected a small town and has twisted it, and now there are just like abominations and horrors just wandering these streets. So campaign 3 is like, yes, you guys are still like the ghost facers, you're like this team of occult hunters, but this is going to have a little bit of like was said, Silent Hill, Bloodborne, stuff like that, to where you're going to be running into like these just abominations that Candy has been able to like get her claws into. And there's going to be a bit of like a psychological pull, as well as the longer, much like Silent Hill, the longer you stay into it, the longer it starts to work to like pull on your own mind.
Oh gosh. And this is just one night. This all takes place in one night.
This all takes place in one night.
Oh,
like it's still going to be 4 episodes. There's still going to be 4 episodes, but it's going to take place in one night.
That is terrifyingly awesome. I do like that combination because even if no one has seen those horror films, you could still get the idea of the dark theme behind her and the creepiness behind that. And it's a great combination because anyone who's ever seen or played the Until Dawn game, their take on the Wendigos, as I call them, are just terrifying. So
and she's gone through a change herself again.
Oh no, she's mutating, guys.
Mutating is the key word here. Candy is no longer just, the either like the cannibalistic cheerleader or like the Wendigo hag. She has now maintained, she's ascended pretty much to like an avatar of horror.
Oh my god. What have she become?
It's all your fault, Zoro.
It's great. It's fine. I'll have to double check. I don't think the first one is on YouTube.
I don't think it is, no.
Which is unfortunate, but yeah, because I want to press more for that, but I think that would be for a lovely surprise, obviously, when it comes around next month. So, but it's great that you created that kind of horrific theme and mutated it with each one shot for that. Follow up on another one shot, and I know we've dabbled on it just a little bit briefly in the past, but the Goose is made up and was used not only in one of our campaigns, but was used in the Christmas one shot last year. Was there a reason why you chose a goose? Because I'm sure you were trying to keep the theme that, raccoon, it's his nemesis, haha, he's a trash mammal, but was there a reason behind the
Untitled Goose game? That's the reason why it was a goose.
Yep. Okay. That's fair. Yep. And then you just kind of took it from there.
Just took it from there.
Doesn't the goose run around with like a knife in its mouth at one point?
Probably.
Or am I thinking of something else?
No, he has. Yeah, because there's a picture of him running around with a butter knife in his mouth that says "Peace was never an option."
Oh, There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That works. Now, Fox, what are some of the things? Because you made up a lot of stuff for No Way Out.
Yes.
What were some of your prized creatures, especially for people who haven't seen it yet? Just kind of give us a little bit on what you have created for that little campaign.
There was a lot that I altered for that campaign.
Sorry.
I should have known going into it that you guys would go outside the bounds of the map.
I honestly didn't think we would. I thought it would be like a whole desert scenario. Nope.
We took that story off road.
Yeah, we did.
I think one of the creatures that I had the most fun altering and using, and I'm both sad that I didn't get to use more and glad that I didn't get to use more, was the avatar of
the
Minotaur.
Dude. Yeah. I keep wanting to say Baphomet, but it's not it. There we go. Baphomet. Yeah.
Avatar of Baphomet.
Yeah.
Because there is an actual Baphomet creature, I think, in the monster manual or one of the official books. And yeah, he's a badass, but he's an avatar of a god, and the one in the books just did not feel powerful enough to me. So
you sicked him on a couple of level 6 pups?
You guys destroyed the shrine.
No.
Don't lump us all into it. There was no we.
You are a group. You're in it together.
Subira didn't officially formulate herself with part of the group?
You are each.
asleep.
You're you are each other's responsibility.
Oh, damn it.
Nope.
But yeah, that creature was a lot of fun. He had a lot of really interesting abilities, and you would have seen a lot more of him had his teleportation not been counterspelled. So that
I'm
was
happy that I'm happy that it was counterspelled.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I wanted to play with him more, but I'm also kind of happy that it was counterspelled because death was a real option there. Another creature that I never got to use, but was in the world, that I placed in the world, like right off the bat, is one that we saw the original of actually in the Tuesday game recently. The creature that I had disguised as a sand dune moving throughout the desert. Yeah, that was an unofficial.
Tuesday, or was that Withered Wastes?
No, that was Tuesday.
It was
yeah.
Tuesday. Okay.
It was one that was in one of the books. I don't remember which book, but again, I took and I altered for the part of the world that it was in, and obviously the level of the campaign and stuff, in case you guys for some reason decided to attack the innocent ancient turtle creature. So it was a lot of taking official stuff and altering it and changing it for the setting and the type of world that we have our games in. And that was a lot of fun because you don't have to dedicate quite as much time to creating monsters from scratch, but you also get to have a lot of fun with customizing everything in the world and adding abilities that make sense for the types of encounters that they're meant to be. I mean, these creatures all over the world are going to be products of their environments, right? So you're not necessarily going to have one creature that is the same across the board when it's in the Arctic, when it's in the desert, when it's an ocean dwelling version of itself. You got to change them up depending on that environment. And that's what I did a lot in No Way Out, and it was a lot of fun.
See, I love that. I'm sad of some of the stuff you explained before, too, that we didn't get to meet, but who knows? May come back. Who knows? There might be a part 2.
Yeah, I mean, they exist now, so they're there if we ever want to draw on them.
Yeah. And I don't think we dabbled on it. I actually don't know if she was made up or not, mainly because we decided to bamf out of the desert and not find out. But the female, the Oasis, that kept trying to grab Raven's character, was she made up, or was she an actual creature that you also altered or just used?
She started out as just an ordinary creature, because I thought it was just going to be a one-time thing. But then Raven, being a very stubborn person, and his characters taking after him, I decided to pursue it. So I changed her more and more the longer it went on, up until the point where she just got frustrated with him and slapped him and left.
Was like her saying, like, I'm done?
Yeah, it was her texting him over and over and him just ghosting her and her getting fed up.
What was she?
Leaving her unread?
She was, what was the name of the creature? I don't remember the name of the creature, but it's...
Was it an Oasis Spirit?
It was something similar to that. They have like very siren-like abilities where they lure people in, and they're very gentle and loving and stuff with them. And they basically
was kind of a kind siren.
Well, no, they have a kiss of death.
Oh, of course.
So they basically lure you in. They charm you. They make you want to stay there and die with them, essentially. So she wasn't a nice creature, but
he was playing hard to get, and she didn't like that.
Yeah. Like the first 2 encounters, she was just frustrated, and then after that it was like, okay, well, now I'm like genuinely interested in this guy. He's ignoring me. But then it went to, okay, he's ignoring me, now I'm angry. It was a good time. I liked that creature.
It's like the stereotype where the girl's just like, oh, I like a boy that doesn't like instantly fall for me. All right, I'll play this game. And it's like, oh, okay, he'll play back. All right. Well, no, now he's legitimately hurting my feelings. What the hell?
Yeah, and I thought that was a funny stereotype to put in on a monster. Something that's there to kill people, but now it's like genuinely offended that you're not falling for it.
Yeah. He's young, stubborn pup, you know.
Yep.
Who knows? I don't think we've even figured it out, and who knows if we ever will. Especially if you eventually turn it into a campaign, which I know you will. You'll succumb to it. Sonata, we don't know what Eugene is yet, do we? As far as like what he's become.
Yeah, you don't know what he currently is.
Is it made up, or is it something that we're aware of but altered?
So you know that he was at one point a human. You learned that about him.
Yes. And
you also learned that he was part of the group of lycanthropes at Winterclaw Keep, and he was banished for doing something.
Right.
And so you know that he was a human, and he is or was a werewolf, and now he's something else. And you know that something else was created from some kind of deal that he made with the Shadow. What that is, you don't quite know yet. And given the adventure that you guys have chosen for Sonata 3, I feel like you may find out.
Oh, that's exciting. I like that. Okay, so yeah, because I remember we made guesses saying like, oh, is he a warlock now and he's got a patron, or did he make some deal with the devil kind of scenario? But we definitely, even though there were some new characters, it was definitely noticeable for the players that like something's up with him. This is different.
Yeah. So like mechanically, I've written him as a creature with the spellcasting trait. He
nice.
isn't. Okay. In Sonata 1, he did actually have a proper class and everything associated with him.
Right.
But now, after undergoing this change, I'm writing him as a creature with certain traits.
Okay. Now, are you rolling with their blood hunters with certain traits, or are they actual lycanthropes with different classes? They just have
They are actual lycanthropes.
Okay.
That was something that I had a lot of fun with that family, and continue to, because they will be continuing to make their appearances throughout the adventures. All of them are children that were born lycanthropes. So
got it. Okay.
The difference between a born lycanthrope and a person that contracted it later, person that contracted it, that curse can be removed, but somebody that was born with it, it can't be removed. But the ones that were born with it can possibly learn to control it. So that's what that family is all about.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Now, I actually don't know if he's made up or not, and for the life of me, I cannot remember his name. I have not unpacked all my D&D stuff yet. But Rhojin, the guy who's passing himself off as like a gnome, but he's like a goblin, but we don't know what he is. Thank you.
No.
Yeah. Is he a made-up creature?
Null is my cue. Null is my cue.
Okay.
He originally was introduced in campaign 1 as one of like the little goblins that we came across in No Way Out, the little chaotic magic casters that just had like all kinds of like strange abilities and stuff to them. But as time went on, they discovered that he also has a halfling form, and he's kind of just there at all points in time. He was there in campaign 1 to pretty much help Cassius and the group undo the fuck up that they did by releasing Zatrot. He wouldn't have got involved in aside from the fact that it would have been a plain ending experience if they had not stopped him.
Oh my.
Yeah. Again, that whole instance was never planned. That was not the direction I was going to have them take. And instead, that's what derailed episode 3, episode 4.
And now he's back.
He's back because once again something else is, causing is threatening. Well, not really threatening. It's more of annoyance to him because he's gone through this multiple times and y'all just can't seem to fix it.
Yeah. So is he immortal essentially?
He is immortal. He's technically a god. He's omniscient, omnipresent. He can't be killed. So,
Darn.
but at the same time, he's sort of limited to what he can technically do in the world. Like he himself cannot have a direct hand in shaping anything, but he gets around that rule by kindly guiding mortals to doing what he needs them to do.
It reminds me of the lore Puck from the Fae lore a little bit, where he does still have limitations, but he loves to mess with everything and skirt around the rules.
Yep, it's like he has those rules, so he walks that very thin line all the time.
Oh, jeez. What? So does he identify as goblin or halfling?
Neither. It's just
okay. It's just his favorite forms.
It's just simplistic forms because normally people overlook the little guy, so he kind of is able to slip it in between people and keep to the shadows if need be to observe.
Also a very Puck thing. I love this. Especially since we're dealing with the Fae, so it kind of goes very well. God of BS, there you go. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, so far, yeah, it's been great. So, before we take our first break and actually get the community involved in finalizing this Extra Life milestone of creating a creature, which we did agree, according to the polls, that it is a tiny creature.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gotten that far. So anyone who's live in chat right now, you're going to help us kind of get the fine details and finish up this creature that can terrorize us in one of the campaigns. We'll see what happens. But really quick, did any of you guys, since I know you, so both of you are very, very creative people, do you have any questions for each other as far as your character creation process goes? Or any of the characters in general?
I mean, I have lots of questions, but I also don't want to ask questions that may spoil things.
That's fair.
Like I've had questions about Null specifically for years.
Now might be your chance, maybe.
It might be. So mechanically, going back to like his creature type and what he appears as and stuff, mechanically, what is he classed as?
He's classed as an outsider. He is classed as an outsider, not celestial, not fiend, anything like that, but outsider.
And he has alluded to us in both campaign 1 and campaign 2 at this point that he can't interfere, that's the word. I was thinking interact. No, he's interacting plenty.
Yeah, he is.
He can't interfere because of like some rule that's preventing him from doing it, or an agreement that he's made or something. Is there another side to that agreement? Like, is there an actual entity that he has made a bargain with or made an agreement with or something that prevents him from doing this?
It's more that it's just more of his being. He's not the only one. He's just the only one that you encountered.
Yes, we know that there was at least one other one, because that's the one that Cassius tortured near the end of the campaign.
Mm-hmm. Funny enough, the one that Cassius tortured at the end of the campaign was just a duplicate he made to get out of the pain.
That's fair.
Wow.
But yeah, him and those like him just have the rules placed on them like the Watchers from the Marvel universe. Like they cannot directly interfere. They're there to keep an eye on things. But with him, again, he likes to skirt the rules and make sure that things keep going in a certain direction.
So if, say, hypothetically, somebody wanted to tattle on him and say he is interfering, who would they tell?
You don't know.
Damn. It was worth a shot.
Wisp, by the way, thank you so much for that 31 sub. Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry, Fox. You can only get so far.
I had to try.
You did.
Are you saying you want to speak to Null's manager?
That's exactly.
Are you
what
a
I'm
Karen?
saying. In this scenario, I will be.
I can see Kyo being a Karen. To a certain extent.
Yeah. I think she would be a Karen, but like not an angry one. She would be like, well, can I talk to your manager? Because I'm not getting anywhere with you.
I will say that even if you were to find out who the higher ups of his people or organization were, the complaint would fall on deaf ears.
Oh, CEO don't care.
I'll just have to come up with my own punishment.
It's more the mortals are complaining. Let's just turn the volume down.
I mean, isn't that every god's attitude? Let's be honest.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh, the ants are yelling at us again.
Turn you on mute. There you go.
All right, meteor swarm. Let's see if that calms them down.
Oh god, that's terrible. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take a break. Live audience right now, do not go anywhere. We want your opinion to help iron out these details of this potentially terrifying creature. You know, it doesn't matter. We can make it the sweetest thing, and somehow Rhojin will twist it and make it terrifying. And that's what's exciting and not.
It may end up being like really friendly and soft and fuzzy and lovable.
Yeah, that's what they did on Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and look how that turned out.
Just have a giant poison aura that it can't help itself.
Oh, hey, I think Subira's her putrid skeleton did that. Where he just had this aura of just poison coming out of him. Oh, that's terrifying. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short little break, and then we're going to turn to our guest, you, the audience, for this creature. Hang out, guys. Don't go anywhere.
put the link in the.
We are live. Oh no!
I put the straw poll. I put the straw poll link in chat for you guys too, if you wanted to vote. But I made a straw poll based off of HB Fox's suggestion to vote on the four-way tie that happened between the creature types. That way we can have a final decision.
Now, did you dropped that in chat, you said, right?
I dropped that in our Zoom chat. I dropped it in stream chat as well.
I am voting right now to help.
And we've got 5 votes in.
Okay, so yeah, if you guys didn't catch that link, I'll go ahead and I'll just drop it real quick in chat. Rhojin did too. That works too. Between the 4-way tie.
Double post.
On this creature. So actually a good portion of this segment is going to be you, Rhojin, taking over since you're orchestrating this and you have the results. It'd be much easier. So let me know if the music's too loud, by the way, because, you know, new setup, so hopefully everything is good. But yeah.
I will say I'm excited as to what's currently winning right now, because when I saw it pop up, I already had something pop into my mind exactly how it can work.
All right.
Real quick before we dive too much into that, it's probably worth noting for the audio listeners that as we're recording this is a live stream on Twitch. We're getting a lot of feedback from our Twitch chat, so that's who we're interacting with right now while we're creating this creature.
We also had some help on our Discord earlier for this, so if you ever want to participate in the future, definitely join our Discord, which is in our Twitch and YouTube links, or the beholdrp.com link, and check it out there and join our Discord there. So Rhojin, what do we have so far for this community-built creature?
So it looks like all the votes are in.
Oh, okay.
Or something that, you know, I can call it right now. So for creature size, with 58.3% of the vote, it will be a tiny creature, which is something that surprised me, because normally people don't go the tiny route. Everyone wants, you know, I want a gargantuan, you know, land turtle that can act as a G.I. Joe battle center or something. So that sort of caught me off guard.
I'm not gonna lie, I was having a conversation when that originally went out with my friend about Hellboy, specifically Hellboy 2, and it reminded me of the Tooth Fairies and how they were tiny but incredibly destructive and terrifying. And so that's where my mind went, where I'm like, knowing Rhojin, he can make this like really terrifying. I'm gonna go with tiny. I'm gonna see what happens.
Okay.
See, and I also voted for tiny because I had the thought immediately when I saw the options. Like, I know the kinds of things that Rhojin creates, and I know the things that I also create. So tiny is perfect for like a creature that's gonna like burrow under your skin or something and live inside of you.
So, oh my god, like the scarabs from the mummy.
Funny enough, Fox, I think I've incorporated that into how this thing works.
That's terrifying. No.
So it's going to be a tiny creature.
Okay.
As for the type of creature, with the tiebreaker, with 57.14% of the votes, it will be a plant.
Yes!
So we have a tiny plant creature that is going to pester so many unfortunate characters who come across it. As for the means that they choose to do combat, with 58.3% of the vote, both. So they will be specializing in both magical and physical combat.
Oh, okay. Versatile. I like it.
Now, all of that thrown together, I've come up with the idea of these tiny little plants that just grow in small colonies around forest floors, sometimes along in damp caves and whatnot. But anybody who comes near them begins to hear some very enchanting singing emanating from them.
Oh no.
And the closer one gets to this, you just want to stop and smell the flowers. And that's where they get you. As either the small buds, not big enough yet to act on their own, sort of release these spores that infect whomever decides to take a big whiff.
Oh no.
And over a small gestation period, those spores grow into a plant inside the host. The plant then burrows its roots into the brain itself, and then becomes, slowly but surely, has the ability to control whatever they've infected.
There's some Last of Us shit going on here. No.
Now,
No.
there's another side of it. The ones that have matured, they're still, like rose bush, like they live on a rose bush, or they're just little stray flower you just seem to come across in the forest. That one will actually attack. That one will spring forward and then try to crawl into your nose, your mouth, your ears, any open area on the face, trying to get inside you, to once again get into the brain, to control that unfortunate being.
Nope.
Now I say being because it's not just humanoids that are affected. These things could also infect dragons or celestials, or if enough of them sort of grow on them, elementals.
Oh dang. So it doesn't matter if you're organic, it'll get you.
Yeah. If you are some sort of living being, it now can take control of you.
Bye bunnies.
And I think that's where it plays into, like, we had the question of, are they resistant to anything? Are they vulnerable to anything? Are they immune to anything? And that's something that sort of, I think, would morph depending on what creature it infected. Out on its base form, yeah, it's vulnerable to fire. It's a plant. You set that sucker on fire, you're going to torch it without an issue. But I did, like, there was one specifically in here in regards to immunities and vulnerabilities that gave me the idea of them being immune, vulnerable, whatever, just based off of whatever they've infected. Like, their vulnerabilities, their immunities, their resistances become the plants.
That is terrifying.
Now, there are ways to get rid of said fungal growth in the brain. You don't have to kill the person.
Greater restoration? Kill the person and then bring them back?
Well, if you kill the person, the plant will actually vacate the skull because it's no longer useful.
Anyone see the anime Parasite?
Now,
yes.
Oh man.
I'm thinking that it also has sort of a necrotic cousin, something akin to grave moss that will not vacate the body once it dies, and it just reanimates the body into an undead creature.
There's the Last of Us right there. That's gross. Nope. 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 So it ends up with this plant with how you've morphed it, that in a way by itself it does have vulnerabilities and whatnot, but it mutates and it's unpredictable when it is absorbed and controlled, or being controlled in a different being. That's terrifying. Is it obvious if someone is being controlled? Like, does their
Nope. It has full access to everything that infected being does. It has its memories. its feelings. So you can be with somebody and that plant can have full control over them. And you would never know it.
Would you, the host, know it?
You, the host, become somebody who is taking a back seat. You are no longer in control of your body.
That sucks.
But you have to sit there and you have to witness everything that this plant does.
Oh no, you're conscious the whole time?
Yeah, you are conscious the whole time.
Oh no.
And these, like, once that plant gets inside of somebody, its main goal is to spread the colony.
I was just gonna ask, what's its purpose infecting people?
And that's actually going back to being conscious the whole time. I think that could give for some really interesting interactions with characters that are have like the telepathy abilities where they can speak mind to mind. Because if your conscious mind is still alive and active, then I would assume there's a possibility that if you try and talk to one of these plant-controlled people, you go into their head and suddenly you hear a different voice, like asking for help or something. That could be kind of creepy.
Just help me, help me.
Definitely, definitely. Like,
oh
how
God,
strong...
would that affect you if you didn't message though too? Because that's all mental too.
I think anything telepathy-wise there would have to be some sort of battle between the infected person and the plant itself to see if the plant was strong enough to suppress the like any messages or anything that the host was trying to send out or trying to communicate via somebody contacting by telepathy or message or anything of that sense. Yeah. So, you know, if you're a barbarian, yeah, you're just you're there along for the ride.
Well, you know, it depends on how well you rolled your stats. Let's be honest, though. What else do we have on that list?
So it was the resistances, the vulnerabilities, and the immunities. And that's where I thought, you know, I'm thinking resistance-wise, I don't think they necessarily have resistance to anything. They're plants. Mm-hmm. There's not really much you can be resistant for when you're just a rose bush on the ground. You're kind of there being trampled on everything. Immunity-wise, I would think anything that would be affecting the mind. Because again, you're just that plant.
Yeah.
Maybe it's immune to psychic damage because of its inherent abilities of trying to control other people.
I can see that. Yeah.
But yeah, there was like, because I don't know who put it, but there was like these really cool things of like, once they're latched onto the minds of the victims, they become immune to damage by the way of their physical location being indiscernible by the victims. So it's like, yeah, just if it latches onto somebody's brain, they're controlling that body. They're now technically immune to whatever that body is immune to.
Yeah.
Because they are now the body.
Right.
And the flower itself has complete cover because it's inside the skull. So you technically can't really target that the flower itself. You're like, the people who are on the outside are either going to have to use like some sort of greater restoration or don't use plant growth, but because then you're just going to turn that person into a chia pet.
Kyo wants to have it advanced by a year.
Yeah, like from this point forward, Kyo is just going to be using plant growth on every single person that she comes across, just to make sure that they aren't a plant person.
Oh God. She was a druid. She may know. Who knows?
Is there a way to make a friendly version? Well, technically, the plants aren't necessarily by creation. I don't see them evil. I just think they're a plant that they're just trying to spread their colony.
Yeah. It sounds like this is just how they spread their spores and stuff around, just like fungi in the real world that infect like insects and stuff. It's not like they're deliberately making the choice that I'm gonna fuck over that ant's day today. That's just how they live.
Yeah, the ant just kind of unfortunately wandered into the colony.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily see them as evil. They're just a
Just
plant.
neutral. Yeah.
They're just neutral. They're just that plant that just has unfortunate side effects if you know get too close to them.
I mean, it's just like any other, like what Fox said, any kind of fungus or plant in real life. They're just trying to spread the pollen.
So what you
It's
do
just unfortunate pollen.
if you want a friendly one is you go down to your local like flea market or something and buy a rat or a pigeon or something. Go find one of these flowers, shove the rat's face in the flower so it gets infected, and then just befriend it as it slowly changes.
Druid pets.
I can, yeah. I can.
That sounds a lot crueler than I meant it to, but
yeah.
it's an option.
I mean, but if its primary goal is to spread the fungus and the spores,
What
wouldn't you
better
be at
way
risk
to spread things than with a rat?
That's
I mean, if you and
true.
if by once they're infected, you could definitely use speak with plants to communicate with said plant and try to come up with sort of a deal of, hey, don't infect me and I'll help you spread your colony.
There you go.
Oh my god.
I mean, if you look at it,
terrible.
if you look at it, these plants are the perfect weapon, because you whomever knows what they are can cultivate these plants, sell them on an open market, say in a flea market or just
Black market.
Yeah, black market or just in your local shop. And that unsuspecting person who's like, oh, what a lovely, plant, takes it home. And now it just slowly and surely begins to spread.
And then that town is fucked.
So when talking about these things, you use the visual example of like a rosebud and something or something. So is this plant the type of plant that you're likely to find in like plains and grasslands and forests and stuff, as opposed to in the Arctic and in deserts and stuff like that?
The way that I was thinking was it's going to be one of those plants that can survive in multiple environments, and the environment itself may have an influence as to how it looks. Maybe it's strengthened in every one way. Maybe it, like, say something that grows out in the desert. Maybe it's it's gained an immunity to something because of the harsh conditions out there. But by default, there's sort of like those plants that you find in forests and in like damp caverns and stuff. But they definitely have the ability to spread out to other locations.
Are they discernible? Can you tell, like, if you know enough or roll high enough, whatever, for nature, could you be able to discern that this is not a normal plant, that this is some sort of creature?
Most definitely. Like anyone who's either had encountered with them or like anyone who's come from a druidic background may know that. Or, somebody who makes that wisdom save is like, why are these plants singing to me? That it's not really something that, I lost what I was going to say, but they definitely don't try to hide the fact that they're not normal.
Is it because they're not smart enough, or it's just in their nature that they don't care? They just do what they do.
It's more that it's their way of luring and prey.
Siren plants.
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's like in effect the sirens, like their music is supposed to lure you close enough to where you either breathe in the spores, or if a matured plant is in that colony, it then tries to take you over.
I have a name for them. Siren succulents.
There we go.
And then if you want to get really crazy with the S's, they use their siren succulent spores.
See, that sounds like the desert variety. Succulents you don't usually find in forests.
I was gonna think, imagine them in the desert and their cactus flowers.
That, when you had mentioned them adapting to different environments, that's exactly what I pictured, was like one of those brightly colored flowers that you see sprouting out of cacti.
Don't bring that shit into Sonata. I don't want to see that in the snow.
Why is the cactus singing? I don't know. Let's get closer.
Why don't we go investigate with our
And
noses?
now all of Dagger Tree is infested by these things because all the gnolls got very curious.
How do you know they aren't already?
See, here's the thing though, and I just recently, because I'm rewatching all of Mass Effect right now, and I got to the part where you guys are in the desert, and there's just a floating balloon little blob there, and fuck all, Brockus is like, I want to poke it. I want to see what it does. Like, it's not doing anything. I don't care. I want to do something to it. It's okay. It's like, oh god, one of us is going to do this with the fucking plants. It's like, it's singing. I want to check it out. It's like, oh no.
We all know who it's going to be, too.
Tickles.
She's a rat. Yeah, she has several guns.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Wisp has a really good idea. What if the music changes depending on the area it's in?
Yeah, like depending on the area or depending on the thing that it's trying to attract. Maybe that it's got enough strength in sort of like a psychic connection to like the surrounding areas that it definitely begins to mimic music of the surrounding cultures.
So if there's like orc or goblins nearby, they just hear like war drums. And they're just
So
like...
what I'm hearing is you could capture a bunch of these things in like a box or something, and then you've got like a never-ending boombox that you just carry around with you.
Yeah. Seal it enough to where the spores can't get out, and
Is the risk worth it? Put it in a jar?
Yes.
Will it
The
survive
risk
in the
is
jar?
always worth it.
I feel like if you plucked it though, it would be like any other plant where it will just wither and die if you don't properly water it.
you don't know what it feeds off of.
Well, let's put one in a jar and see if our boombox lasts.
Yeah, the most dangerous boombox ever.
Yeah. That's no. This is terrifyingly awesome.
Oh, can you imagine if a bard got infected by one of these?
Oh my god.
And then it has like a flute or a trumpet or something.
Oh god.
And when it's using the trumpet, it's breathing out spores into the area
Yep,
to
that's
infect
exactly what
everyone
I was thinking.
else.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. Would that be considered friendly fire then?
Allow me to play you the song of my people. You are now my people.
And this is why you never trust bards.
Whoa. Miss Candy Cane helping her vamp.
I know what I said.
I almost said vamp daddy, and I was like, wait. No.
I don't think we got quite that far.
No,
with
it didn't. You didn't. I just felt the need to say vamp daddy. I don't know why. You know, 'tis the season. It's Halloween. It's on the mind. I don't know about you, but vamp daddy's on my mind.
I've got no input on this because I feel
That's
like
right.
anything that I say is going to be offensive to Ash.
Now I just have this.
It's true.
Why do I picture people just now going to their tablets and starting drawing pictures of lewd pictures of Xavier?
No, not my daddy.
Adding that
Not
to
my
the
actual
list.
daddy. No, not actual daddy. Hey, he had 2 wives, so you
That
only
you
got a
know
picture
about.
you only got a picture of one so far, so no, not her. No. Oh god, it'd be worse if it was a what's his butt, Grandpappy.
Vincent.
No. Your grandpa needs love too. No. Sorry.
No.
Vincent wearing like the sexy grandpa hat.
I don't want to think about that man in that way. Please don't.
Well, he was also a pureblood vampire, so it's not like he was, super wrinkly or anything, but he also was kind of a lich, so that kind of adds to it.
I mean, to be fair, he was just recently made a lich, so nothing had actually begun to set in.
Yeah, but...
And really going from undead to undead, is he really going to lose anything?
No. Just his life.
I mean, he already lost that when he was locked underneath the floorboards.
That's true. He deserved it though, so it's okay. What else was on that list of to vote?
That was pretty much it. There were 3 voting, and then I needed the ideas for immunities, vulnerabilities, and resistances.
Oh my goodness.
Just having this talk with everybody, both in the Zoom call and in chat, is going to make this thing more of a horror than it may originally had started off as.
So you had mentioned that as far as like combat goes and stuff, it's both like martial and magical, and that there is a version of it that can actually fight not in another body.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have an idea in mind for like the level range or CR range, the strength level of this creature?
I'm thinking that the plants themselves, like the full-grown plants, are probably a CR3. And then the little budlings are probably a CR8.
Can I make a request for one of the spells that the plant has?
Entangle?
One that isn't an obvious plant spell, but
Mind
is
Spike.
like one of the best spells ever.
Plant growth.
Mind Spike.
And it totally fits for that CR level as well. Dispel magic.
Ooh.
Oh, rude. Fox, come on.
If it was higher level, I was going to say counterspell, but CR3,
Can you
Dispel magic.
imagine being counterspelled by a flower?
I'd be pissed. Like, this
And
motherfucker just counterspelled me.
It's like you're locked in combat with like a group of wargs. You go to cast fireball, and somewhere something just casts counterspell.
Goddamn plant.
Actually, you know what? I'm putting counterspell in there. I'm gonna
No! I blame
No, because
Fox.
it's a means to protect. It's a means to protect the colony. Somebody's walking in. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna fireball this forest. Yeah, no.
So speaking of fireballs and like area of effect things, another ability that I think would be really cool for something like this to have, that I think more monsters should have, is evasion. Especially a tiny creature, it makes sense.
Can it use evasion though if it's like planted in the ground, like roots and all?
The grown plants can, because they can move.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Fox.
I just like interesting monsters.
I think they have like an advantage on stealth checks.
Oh god.
Or like stealth / hide, because it's a flower.
Yeah, I can see these creatures having, as far as stats go, high dex and will. Especially will, for it to be able to take control and everything.
Wisp, that is genius.
Oh, the grave moss can use hide.
Because of the darkness, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
You know what? I know exactly where I can place these two.
Well, those apparently are going in campaign 3.
Yep. I know exactly where I can place them too.
Okay, so nobody sniff any flowers in that campaign.
Well,
sniff all the flowers.
We're kind of a chaotic group, so
don't be a coward.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Ooh. All right.
I don't know if I can speak for myself.
You guys get a bonus creature too.
What? Why?
I'm making a huge variant of it.
Oh, feed me, Seymour.
Yeah. If a colony is left large enough to grow, a trap plant sprouts.
That's crazy.
And it's got sort of like a hive mind with the rest of the colony.
Oh my god, yes. So if we kill that, we'll be semi-okay. Or make it a demigod to some druids?
I think there would definitely be some sort of god or being,
or maybe
that
respect, maybe
would have either a domain over them or have some sort of interest in them.
Yeah, I could totally see a druid circle. If not like joining in with this creature, at least working with this plant creature to allow it to survive and possibly spread. Because I mean, that's what druids do.
Yeah, I feel like if you did Circle of Spores, you would be maybe not necessarily immune to them, but know enough about them, and they're kind of like kin to what your abilities are.
Yeah,
that you would have
it'd be
either
like a
advantage or-
symbiotic relationship.
There we go. Yeah, that's a good term. So when we encounter them back in No Way Out Part 2, and we've got Zara walking around, she's cool. She'll let us know. She's like, oh yeah, these plants are assholes.
If she knows them.
If they're not mushrooms, they're assholes.
Yeah.
But they're spores.
Yeah, but they're not the good kind of spores.
Is any spore a good kind of spore?
There is a good kind of spore, but for the record, Zara's kind of spore is not a good kind of spore.
No.
So
No, not at all.
Like, Zara's spores hurt, and they could turn you into zombies if you die near her.
Last of Us. Yep. I mean, that was the inspiration. The spores used in the Amazon that would take over the mind of an ant and basically kill them and then reanimate their bodies so they can go to the tallest tree, make their heads explode, and spores would come out so they could spread.
There's a type of species of that spore that also does that to spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I think there's even one for like wasps too. I think I recently heard about.
There's one that
something.
infects wasps, but there's also a wasp that will lay its eggs inside of a spider, and then its young eat their way outside of the spider itself. I think it's the Pepsi wasp or something like that.
Yeah, it's that's a common desert wasp, to my knowledge. Yeah, because I think if I remember correctly, I think I saw them in Arizona at one point. Or thought I did. I don't know. That was a long time ago.
What about the mushroom queen drow? Can they mimic actual mushies?
Oh, yeah. What's her face?
Fira.
Thank you, Fira.
Yeah, Fira. I'm not sure what you mean by can they mimic actual mushies.
I think maybe they're referring to how they change depending on their environment.
Oh, would they be mushrooms?
No, they would always be plants.
Gotcha.
It's always definitely a plant. It's not technically considered a fungus.
It's just their immunities, depending on their environment, would alter, not necessarily their look.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, their look would change to like mimic flowers that are normally in that area.
Well, blend in. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but they wouldn't form into, say, a cave fungus or brown mushrooms out in the forest. They would always be in a plant-like state.
Yeah.
So in caves, they would probably more likely resemble like a moss or a creeper that goes across the cave walls or hangs from the ceiling or something.
Underwater, it looks like seaweed.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. We have our terrifying, tiny... You know, it started off as a tiny creature, and then it turned into a medium creature, and then turned to a giant creature.
I just got the most evil idea.
Oh, please share.
Because there are plant-like flowers under the ocean. What if it infected a school of fish? Unbeknownst to some fishermen, catch said fish, sell them on the open market, and now everyone who eats said fish is now infected.
I'm going vegan.
And that is why you always freeze your fish at least once before consuming, because it kills all of the parasites and everything that's in the fish.
This is both D&D logic and real life. Wink.
Immunities to cold.
It's okay. It still kill it with fire. That's terrifying. Well, that will be interesting to see. Sounds like more than likely we'll see them in campaign 3 of Destiny Forge, but who knows if they'll pop up. And I can see them in the wastes for sure.
I will most definitely put the monster sheets up and stuff in the armory on our Discord once they are complete.
Yep.
So anybody who wants to use them in their own campaign to torture your own players, feel free to do so.
Yeah, and I think where's my cursor? I think I've mentioned this to you before over at drivethrurpg.com. They do have, I believe it's free. You can download the little monster cards that they have. Yeah, the little template, and you can just make it there to make it look all fancy if you want to.
Because I need to make it look fancy, because Fox makes it look fancy and it looks cool. So I need to like start making mine look fancy and not just a Discord quote.
There you go. Well, if you need help, you know 2 people that have programs to help with that. But that is unfortunately all the time we have. But I feel like there was a lot of progress, a lot of terrifying suggestions. He wrote down notes. For those of you who are listening, he wrote this down, so that's even worse, because that means he's going to remember. So we'll see how that goes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in for episode 6 of Behold Lore, our once a month, first Saturday of every month, lore show with the 3 of us plus a guest. We will more than likely have a guest for October, just don't know who just yet. So stay tuned on our social medias for that announcement when we get a little bit closer to it, as well as the topic. This is not the only show we have. We have the return of our Monday show. The original Mass Effect Horizons is making its comeback, which this was a good little social experiment because I was hoping we wouldn't crash with all these programs running in the background. So it worked out.
It seems to be running nice and smooth.
Yeah, so we can do it, and hopefully like the mic and audio is good too, and when I play it back it'll be good for the adjustments as well. But yeah, I'm super excited to come back, rewatching it, because I'm like, what the hell happened? A lot of shenanigans. I'm not saying this because I'm the DM, but it's a pretty funny show. Now that I'm rewatching it, I'm like, God, we're funny. So come back. It is coming back this Monday, this upcoming Monday. I know it's a holiday, but we're coming back. It's too perfect because it's Monday the 6th and they're the Mimsy 6th, so it's meant to be. Then we have Tuesday, where we have our Destiny 4 campaign, Destiny Forged campaign 2. I don't know where
that's going to be the name of campaign 4. It's just Destiny 4.
Destiny 4. Oh my God, yes. That'll take place like 7 years from now, so we'll get there. Yeah. Where we have Rhojin taking us on one of our longest running shows. We're going through all kinds of crazy at the moment, but we are getting a bit closer towards the end of this campaign. Not quite wrapping up just yet, but we're getting there. We're around the corner from it right now. He also DMs one of our alternate Saturday shows, Withered Waste, where it is our post-apocalyptic Arcanapocalypse type of magic game where we go through the wastes and deal with another bag of crazy. I feel like we don't get far because we keep getting into trouble. This is I feel like it's worse than Tuesday's Crew. We just constantly get into trouble.
I think it's because we're at each other's throats a lot in Withered Waste. So there's a lot of arguing before a decision is made.
That's true. We're still learning to be a group, or trust each other, or both,
or function.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And a few of us I think are having breakdowns at the moment as well. So that certainly helps.
Yeah. There's a lot of baggage.
Characters having breakdowns in my game? Nah.
But this one has a lot of baggage, and it's still a young game, so it's pretty hilarious.
You all got a lot of drama on your end.
Yeah, we do. So that's one Saturday, every other Saturday. The other every other Saturday, we have Azrin running through the Extinction Curse campaign for Pathfinder 2, where I think they just leveled up.
I believe they did, yes.
They did. So they're level 4 now, and they just finished chapter 3, so they're on to chapter 4 for those who know the campaign. At least are aware of that. So I need to catch up on that, but it doesn't matter. It's just Fireball is the answer to everything. Fire Wizard wants to just burn everything, or an orc that just wants to bash down doors with no consequences. It's great. So that's another crazy campaign going on. So thank you guys for hanging out. You can catch all of those here on our Twitch, or they will go up on YouTube pretty much shortly after they air if you get behind or don't have time to watch them live. So thanks for hanging out with you guys. We will see you back here in just a couple days on Monday, the 6th, where we will, like I said, be coming back finally after almost a year hiatus of Mass Effect Horizons. So y'all need to freshen up on your characters so we can get back and get our game face on.
I will have Brackus updated today.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because we're also level 4. That's where we ended a year ago. You leveled up, so
I can't wait to use that dash headbutt ability.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you don't get that automatically. Being a Krogan, I can't believe that has to be a feat.
Yeah, now you do.
Now we do.
I love it.
You leveled us all up at the end of the last session.
Yep.
We got all these cool abilities, and we had to wait a year to use them. I have such an awesome ability that I want to use so badly.
I kind of had a baby and then was trying to move to better ourselves for my baby, so
I guess that's okay.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, I know no one ever wants to hear this, but I'm hoping we can finish the campaign before baby number 2, because I would hate to go on another almost year hiatus again. That would just be awful.
We'll just have No Way Out 2 during that time.
There we go.
And we'll come back to Mass Effect again.
There we go. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll go down the road and see what that is. So I'm not blaming the baby. I'm just saying the baby's the reason for the hiatus. Stop blaming the baby.
Save this VOD and show it to them when they're old enough to understand.
It's your fault.
It's your fault. It took a year to get to episode 8.
Yeah. Whoa, episode 21. It's cool. Oh my god, that is episode 21. All right, there we go. So, you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and like I said, we'll see you back here on Monday. Until then, take care, guys.